Thank you guys for joining me again for the Budo League. It's the finals between Takeda and Horo-shu. I'm pretty anxious to get this all started. Joining me is the Shimatsu clan's Kinjo. How are you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing there, Gunther?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to have you back. Today's match is between the Horo-shu clan's Kuro, here with the three little white squares on his flags, against his opponent, the Takeda clan's Nobushige, with the more or less solid white circle. Kinjo, do the honors. Army compositions.
Alright, I'll go ahead and start with the, Kuro's army. Now basically he's kind of, he's got quite a bit of lone swords. Looks like there's 5 lone swords with Katana Cav on the left flank. In the center he's got some highly vetted bow monks, and behind them he's got guns, and then of course on his right flank he's got a couple unit of great guards, and looks like his general is a leadership general. Now looking at Nobu's army, it's actually pretty similar. He's got a couple units of bow monks. Looks like there's most of his army still. There's a few of them that's hidden, but he's got a composition between katana samurai and lone swords in the center, and of course he's got the leadership general as well, ready to do the stand and fight. Usually when they're dismounted, they can actually use that ability a lot faster. As far as cavalry goes, looks like he's got some monk cavalry along with 2 units of great guard.
Alright, so without further ado, I'm really excited to get this underway, so we should both be paused and we might as well get started. We'll hit play in 3, 2, 1, play, and we should be underway. Nobushige moving forward straight away, Kuro moving forward straight away. We are of course on rice fields, forever popular, the most balanced, the flattest map. Everyone loves it, for starters anyway. Usually they tend to change it up, like in the third match, if the game goes to a third. But yeah, can't go wrong with rice fields for the first 2. So we do have 2 units of katana cavalry on Kuro's left flank. Moving out forward first. He's keeping his great guard back. No, he's moving them now over in his right flank. And Nobu seems to be pausing just in front of the standard trees. So what do you think the plan is here for either of these guys? What do you think they're both trying to do?
Well, it looks like what I would say is they're going to probably try to get the upper hand with the skirmish. That's a combination of their archers, and then of course the they're going to try to get their cav in good locations to perform flank attacks or hem up archers. But as far as archery goes, they're very similar, so it's going to be kind of tough. So abilities like stand and fight are going to come into play, and of course some of the unit abilities like whistling arrows. So I guess it really depends on who uses those the best.
Right, so it looks like this is going to be a bit of a slow burner game to start with. Both armies facing each other across the no man's land there, and I guess we're just going to have to wait patiently to see who makes the first move. And it looks like it'll be Kuro, who's starting to inch forward a little bit with his Yari Ashigaru left and right in open formation, his cavalry, his great guard moving over his right flank wide. And now he's pausing again. Who will make the first move? Katana cavalry? Yeah, you were going to say?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to probably send his katana cav around to the left, but right now they're just pretty much sizing each other's armies up and seeing where the weak points would be for the attacks.
Yeah, it must be. Well, it's always tricky when you come up against an opponent who has more or less the same army as you, and you need to think extra carefully about what you're going to do, because same strength, same weaknesses.
Yeah, the one thing that Nobu has to watch out for is the katana cav, because they can actually really wreak a lot of havoc on the his sword composition of his army. But looks like he's going to send his great guard.
Yep, he did have the Great Guard in
After.
the forest there to catch them as they charged in, and that's going to do a lot of damage to these Katana Cavalry. He is trying to pull them out now, but Nobushige has pulled the Ariashigaru back, and those 2 units of Katana Cavalry are now wavering and will probably flee in short order.
Yeah, that was definitely a good little ambush on Nobu's part. That's
Now, he did manage to get one of the Katana Cavalry units into the Matchlock Ashigaru, and they did take a few casualties. 91 men out of 120 I can see on my screen now, and the morale is, I mean, they're refusing to actually finally break, and there they go now. So, a little bit of damage done there for Kuro against Nobushige, but do you think maybe it wasn't quite worth it throwing away 2 Katana Cavalry like that?
You know, see, I mean, right now, you know, he's actually making a nice move. He's moving his archers up while his archers and guns are tied up, so now he can actually start firing on them. So that might actually help him get a little ahead in the archery duel. But yeah, that was a pretty heavy loss, though.
Right, but the skirmishing is beginning, and that lost unit of Katana Cavalry has finally fled the field. So now it's going to come down to that skirmish. Flaming arrows coming from the bow warrior monks of Kuro. And one of Nobushige's bow warrior monk units now down to 10 men, 9, 8. They're going to flee pretty quick. 7 men.
Are running from the battlefield.
They're gone.
Shameful display.
So yeah, I guess you are right about the Katana Cavalry attack there, because it did help Kuro gain the upper hand in the skirmish, almost certainly.
Yeah, that was a nice move down. Nobu's going to try the same thing, but he's got to watch out for those guns that are just basically sitting behind the spears. They're going to probably get a nice shot off.
And now Nobushige on the right flank has sent his Great Guards forward to clash with Kuro's Great Guards, but he is moving infantry up behind, or both players moving infantry up behind now to support their cavalry. So there's going to be a big melee happening over here on Nobushige's right flank, Kuro's left flank. Nobushige is sending Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry straight up the middle, into the archers, into the Matchlock Ashigaru units. Trying to do as much damage as possible, straight up the guts.
Yeah, that was definitely a nice attack on Nobu's side, especially on the right flank. Looks like he's probably going to pull ahead on that, but I guess it's going to depend on what he's actually got left.
Nobushige has pulled his Great Guard back. They're on about half strength. His Great Guard units, unit of Lone Swords, unit of Yaris in that ball. They just won that melee. Kuro had to pull back his unit of Yari Ashigaru. Over on Nobushige's left flank, we've got his Kinaputa, which is what they're called for some reason, lighting up the right flank of Kuro, backed up by Yari Ashigaru, Lone Sword Ashigaru, and Bow Warrior Monks. So it looks like they're going to pull back and sort of reset, another little lull in the fighting, which doesn't usually happen. Usually there's one big melee and it's all over.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, with the way these guys' builds are, you know, their archers and their cav are going to determine a lot of, you know, who wins.
Now, having said that, Kuro still has two mostly, well, pretty high-strength units of Bow Warrior Monks left, along with Matchlocks, 2 units of Matchlocks still. Nobushige, on the other hand, only has 1 unit of Bow Warrior Monks below strength, and 1 unit of Matchlocks, and they're about to be charged by some Yari Ashigaru, and they eat a volley from Kuro's Matchlocks, and they are now wavering. So the ranged battle obviously going in Kuro's favor. And there's also a bit of cavalry harassment. There's also a bit of cavalry harassment happening over on the left flank, and Nobushige sent his Great Guard around the back, and he may be able to actually catch Kuro's bodyguard. He is going to catch the general with his Great Guard, which is not a good thing at all.
Yeah, that could be bad, especially since he's a leadership general.
He has dismounted, and the horses have fled. And Kuro is trying to get his Yari Ashigaru in there as fast as possible. He needs to save that general. Losing a general is a bad thing. Always a bad thing. And Kuro is now starting to move forward his Lone Sword Ashigaru. The big melee is going to happen. Nobushige, the bulk of Nobushige's force is still quite a long way away from the fight, actually. Kuro Horo-shu's general now entering stand ground.
Yeah, that was one thing Nobu kind of, he did wrong, is he left his main force back while his left and right flanks were actually in action.
Yep, so Kuro has managed to fend off the Great Guard, killing his general. His general is safe. And now here comes the big melee that's going to decide this game. And you'd have to think, just based on the number of flags you can see on the field, that Kuro is going to have the upper hand, and you can see he's already starting to win pretty decisively.
Yeah, it does look like it is swinging towards his way. Nobu's right flank is actually starting to falter.
And Nobu's
left flank's gone.
Yeah, left flank's gone, center's faltering. His general's on stand and fight there in the middle, trying to be as inspiring as possible, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point. Having said that, some of Kuro's units are starting to waver, so no, it looks like Kuro's got the upper hand.
From the battlefield. Shameful display.
And here goes Nobushige's general now, wavering. 3 men left, 2 men left. His general is gone.
Our general has been injured, my lord. He lives, but must leave the battle.
So that's a pretty convincing win for Kuro. He goes up 1-0 in this best-of-3 set. I can't wait for the second game.
Well played on both of them. Good job.
Okay, so it's game 2 in this best-of-3 set between the Horo-shu clan's Kuro and the Takeda clan's Nobushige. Joining me is Kinjo. Kinjo, what have our players done differently in this second game?
Okay, well, it definitely looks like both of them changed up their armies a bit. I mean, last game was really close. I'll go ahead and start with Kuro's army. Looks like he's definitely got less cav. The one thing I did notice right off the back, though, is he's got 3 units of matchlocks in his center. Last game he had 2, and as far as cav goes, I mean, as far as his infantry goes, it's about the same. Still 2 bow monks, but as far as his cav goes, looks like he's got 1 katana cav and 1 great guard. Now I don't know if there's anything hidden, but it's definitely a little different. And as far as Nobu's army goes, he made a change with his cav. He's taking more cav this time. I think that katana cav that got into his archers and guns really cost him that battle, because Koru's archers were still standing at the end of the game. He's got, looks like 2 great guard, 1 yari, and 2 katana cav that are somewhat bedded. The rest of his army is pretty much the same, though. Lone swords, 2 bow warrior monks with a few yari ashigari.
Alright, so let's get this underway. We should both be paused, and we'll hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. Game 2, best of 3 set. Kuro's already up 1. Nobushige down 1. So, do you think either of them is going to be more aggressive, just based on the unit composition? Do you think maybe Kuro is going to be a little bit more passive, a little bit more defensive this game, given that he took less cavalry?
I see it. There's a third unit of cav now. It looks like they'll probably go into the same game plan. I mean, they'll try to use their skirmishers to their best ability, and use their cav to kind of tie up skirmishers as well. But I'm not really sure what Nobu's got up his sleeve this time. I know he's got all of his cav hidden, so he's probably going to try a similar ambush, but I don't think Kuro will fall for it this time.
Yeah, he seems pretty content to pull back behind that stand of trees. Sort of hang out, wheeling around to the left now. He obviously wants to be cautious when he's maneuvering. His general is dismounted behind the line, walking along like the poor bloody infantry in front of him. So once again, bit of a lull, bit of a maneuver game. Nothing much too exciting happening.
You know, one thing that a lot of players don't realize is on rice field that actually the shrubs, they actually give light cover for your archers. So, you know, Nobu's probably going to try to use the woods as well.
I did not know they actually gave cover. I've learned something new every day. I know you can hide some units in them, so I guess that follows.
Now, if it actually works, that's a different story. You know, if you just move your mouse cursor over the rice paddy, you can actually see that it provides cover for light infantry.
Oh, so it does. You can see that at home, viewers. I'm hovering my mouse over it. It says provides cover for light infantry units. And you can read that because I'm recording this in 720p just for you because I love you and I want you to enjoy my videos as much as possible. So Nobushige has moved a contingent of infantry around to his left into this other patch of trees. That's one matchlock unit, one Yari and one Lone Sword Ashigaru. Gonna hang out there, provide a little strong point over on the left flank. The rest of Nobushige's army is in the trees in his deployment zone. He's arrayed his units to the left. The remainder of his units to the left of those trees. So yeah, once again, staring each other down over no man's land, trying to work out what to do.
Yeah, looks like Nobu's going to try to encircle him. You know, send his cav out far left. You know, supported by the matchlocks, the Yari Ashigari and the Lone Swords.
Right, so it'll be interesting to see if he can pull that off, and how. Kuro pretty content to just stand in these rice fields. He's starting to hide some units now, some archers in those rice fields, and I can't see them because we are spectating from Nobushige's point of view. Now he's moving back.
Yeah, he's definitely, you know, he's definitely trying to prevent Nobu from encircling his right flank.
He's sending a unit of Katana cavalry out to his left. Try to get a little bit of scouting information, get around behind, see what's going on. Kindra, what goes through your... I mean, you've played a lot more Shogun 2 than I have multiplayer. What goes through your head when you're in this sort of situation? You've got two armies, extremely well balanced. You're on a balanced map like Rice Fields. You're staring each other down. What are you thinking about?
You know, I think most players are just trying to find a weakness. You know, where they're going to attack. Sometimes that's you know, easier in some games, but I think. Kuro's just probably going to send that cav back, try to scout out a little bit, or just hide him in the woods and just, you know, hope Nobu forgets about him and send him in at the right time.
Yeah, and you talk about weaknesses. What is the weakness that you can spot in these unit compositions, and how would you exploit it?
That's kind of tough. I mean, they both got extremely well-balanced armies, so. As far as weaknesses for each other, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, I guess it's going to really come down to skill more than you know, army weaknesses.
Yeah, going to be one of those first mistake losers sort of games. So they're still maneuvering. Nobushige sending more of his units over to the left now, leaving his cavalry and a unit of matchlocks hidden in that first bunch of trees. The maneuver game very important on such a flat map.
Yeah, I guess the strengths for Nobu is that he's actually got more calves, so he's got the ability to move around a little more than Kuro does. But the thing is you know, punching through the center of Kuro's army is going to be very difficult with those three matchlocks standing there.
Okay, here comes Kuro's unit of Katana Cavalry out of the trees now. He's probably going to
Our
spot
hidden
all this
units
cavalry
have been
hidden. There they are, they are
discovered, my
discovered now. So now Kuro knows there's a big bunch of enemy forces still in those trees.
I don't know if Nobu... Well, I think Nobu was a little slow to see that. But
He's sending his cavalry out now.
I definitely would... Definitely think he'd been better off if he'd used his Yari Cav on that one.
Yeah, so Nobushige does manage to catch quite a lot of these Katana Cavalry with his own Katana Cavalry. Didn't quite manage to pin them in, so it looks like they might escape. 40-39 from 60-38, actually taking quite a few casualties, but they are going to manage to get the unit back to his own lines, if not all the men. Kuro sending out a unit of veteran Yari Ashigaru to try and deal with these, at least fend off these Katana Cavalry. So, first blood to Nobushige, at least. And here comes Kuro's Matchlock Ashigaru over to this side, try to get a volley off, try to get as many casualties as possible, make up for those lost in that Katana Cavalry unit.
Yeah, I think if he would have sent out his Yari Cav after me, he probably would have caught him, because the Yari Cav are faster than Katana Cav.
Alright, so with every little maneuver from Nobushige, Kuro gets a little bit more encircled. Both players being very patient.
See, Nobu's actually got to be careful with this Cav.
Here goes Kuro, throwing in his Yari Ashigaru and his Katana Cavalry along with the unit of Matchlocks to support. Might want them taken out. And he is moving the rest of his units out of this forest, Nobushige is. Moving them forward now. Kuro is going to lose that unit of Katana Cavalry. It is wavering. But the Matchlock's backing it up. You'd think they'd be able to do some damage. Now, Nobushige did do a little bit of trickiness, sent his Katana Cavalry wide around the Yari Ashigaru, smashed into the Matchlock units, and is doing a lot of damage now. Nobushige is going to charge forward anyway. Here comes a unit of Yari Cavalry straight up the guts, going after that unit of Bow Warrior Monks, taking a huge volley from the Matchlocks. They're now down to 18 men from 60. That is a lot of damage and probably not worth it at all.
Our men are running from
that was, well, you know, the thing is, he got rid of one of the musket units on the right and that Cav unit. So Nobu actually has a pretty good advantage right now with his two Katana units pretty much roaming at will.
That's true, that's true. He's sending forward a unit of... Nobushige is sending forward a unit of Matchlock Ashigaru units, completely unsupported, almost completely alone, and taking shots from one of Kuro's Matchlock Warrior Monk units, and now taking a volley of flaming arrows from a unit of Bow Warrior Monks. Brave souls all. Nobushige sending his Katana Cavalry right up the back again. And the bulk of Nobushige's forces moving forward now.
That definitely looks like Nobu's moving up his Great Guard now.
Yep. They were hiding in the trees over here on wide on his left flank. And he's going to charge them in.
Yeah, the one thing Nobu needs to be careful is those spears don't get mixed in with the cavalry duel, or it's going to be bad for him.
Oh, and it looks like he's mismaneuvered them, and they have been sandwiched between a unit of Great Guard and a unit of Yari Ashigaru. That is a bit of a mistake there from Nobushige for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a mistake. But you know, the one thing is he's doing well in the skirmish, in the archery duel. He's definitely doing a number to the morale of Kuro's army.
Yep, the skirmish is really heated now. They have managed to rout the unit of Matchlock Ashigaru, Nobushige has, but one of his own Matchlock units got routed as well. The Bow Warrior Monks are now going to have to shoot it out. Nobushige's right-hand unit of Matchlock Warrior Monks, the lone warrior Ashigari, Matchlock Ashigari, 53 men from 120, haven't been routed yet, standing firm. The battle on the left flank is still going strong. Oh, one of Nobushige's Great Guard units did get routed by that Yari Ashigari squad and was completely wiped out. Didn't even have the decency to let them run away. Kuro threw in the unit of his Great Guard, going after all of Nobushige's archery units, and he did manage to catch them, but there is a unit of Yari Ashigari in there who's going to be able to do quite a bit of damage as well.
I think Nobu's didn't see. You know, the one thing I noticed about Nobu's Great Guards is they had bonsai, so they're definitely very high. They were high leveled. So after patch 2, a unit has to actually be level 9 to get that ability.
Okay, so what's the state of play now? It looks like Kuro's been pushed into a little box in the center of the map with all his Lone Sword Ashigaru. Nobushige's looks like he could maneuver at will at this point. So what do you think Kuro needs to do to win this?
You know, it's definitely gonna be tough for Kuro to pull this one off. I mean, Nobu's still got 2 units of archers. I mean, they're not full, but you know, just having archers firing into melee can damage morale. But looks like he's going to go ahead and send his troops forward and just try to, you know, dish it out in the melee.
Sort of have to imagine he has no choice. He can't really win a skirmish anymore, so I suppose he has to attack. Or I suppose he feels he has to attack.
He's definitely moving forward.
Nobushige's general still dismounted, standing behind the line. Here comes the melee. Nobushige charging his lone swords forward to meet them in glorious combat. So the melee starts. Nobushige's still got 2 units of cavalry, 1 katana, 1 Great Guard, running around the back, completely unchecked by Kuro's spearman, who is sending forward now into the melee proper.
Yeah, he just used 1 katana cav to hit the right or left flank of Kuro, and looks like 1 unit of lone swords actually just routed.
That's who's sending that unit of Great Guard. After the Bow Warrior Monks standing at the back, here comes unit of Katana Cavalry, going to go straight into the back of the line, rout these Lone Sword Ashigaru, who are already wavering before the charge hits home. Unit of Matchlocks for Kuro, wavering now. The Lone Swords just in front of Kuro's general, wavering now, so looks like this is going Nobushige's way for sure.
Yeah, definitely Nobu made some good choices on unit composition and brought the right units for the match. So
he's very
definitely
patient.
Both played well.
Very patient too, just knowing what he needed to do. Very carefully move his units around his opponent, get him boxed in, get him pinned in, win the skirmish, and force Kuro to attack. Right, so it's 1-1. We are all tied up. We are going to the third match, the rubber match in this best-of-3 set between the Horo-shu clan's Kuro and the Takeda clan's Nobushige. Okay, here we go. Match 3 between Kuro Horo-shu and Takeda Nobushige. Joining me is Kinjo. This one's going to decide the first set between these two clans. So Kinjo, let's go. Let's do it. Let's see what they've done differently again in these army compositions.
All right, I'll go ahead and start with Nobu's army. Looks like he's got kind of a similar build to what he had last game, but he changed up his cav a bit. Instead of having the katana, he actually has the monk cavalry, and it's 2 Great Guard and a Yari. His infantry composition's about the same. 2 units of bow warrior monks, and looks like 2 units of matchlocks. Now, as far as Kuro's army, the one thing that really stuck out when I first looked at his army, he's got 3 units of bow warriors, which it's going to be very hard for Nobu to actually to beat that in a skirmish if he doesn't find another way to nullify the archers. I don't really know what, as far, some of his units are still hidden, but he definitely has 2 Great Guard. I imagine he's probably got maybe 1 more unit of cav hidden somewhere. 2 units of matchlocks, and his infantry composition's, about the same. Lone swords, highly vetted, and a few Yari, Ashigari.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get this started. We should both be paused. We'll hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. Now, a lot of you fancy high-level players like to take vetted Lone Sword Ashigaru over anything else. It seems to be pretty common. Why is that?
Lone Swords actually, they perform, a lot of people say with the retainers that are out right now, they're actually better than the Katana Samurai. Which, I agree. There's some really nasty Lone Sword armies that you can run into when you play the 1v1 match made. But, it's mainly just they're filler troops. It's one of those units that's going to be kind of inactive for most of the game, so you really want to have your points, in the units that's actually going to help you win the battle. And that's your archers and your cavalry, your guns, usually with skirmish armies.
Yeah, are Lone Sword Ashigaru still cheaper than the katanas, even with their vet?
Oh yeah. I mean, you got a Lone Sword. It's I think with about 340. I guess it depends on what retainers that you're running with. 380 with no retainers, and a Katana Samurai unit, which is I think 750. So they both perform about the same task, and I think with a few upgrades, Lone Swords actually do it better, cheaper than a actual vanilla Katana Samurai.
So Kuro has moved out of his hiding place in the trees, so we will be able to get a more full picture of what sort of army he's running. He does, of course, have the 3 units of bow warrior monks, and the 2 units of katana cavalry, it looks like, coming out of the trees now. Nobushige not wasting any time. He's getting nice and close, straight away, and the skirmish has already begun, so no waiting around this time.
Yeah, those are the 2 cav units that were hidden, light cav and katana cam. I think Nobu should have just went for him. I mean, they were out. He could have easily plowed through those guys with his great guards, especially since they have at least one of them has bonsai.
Right, Kuro actually getting a little bit uncomfortable with the pace of this game so far, it seems. So he did actually pull back, even though he probably could have kept firing volleys at those matchlocks unmolested. He's obviously content to play another cautious game.
Now, one thing a lot of people don't realize about this map, Ricefield, is right where Kuro has his matchlocks, there's a little ridge, and that's a good place to actually put your guns because they can shoot over your bows without hitting them. But it looks like he's actually moving away from that now, though.
Oh yeah, I can see that there. There's just a slight depression in the ground where the road runs. How about that? Alright, so Nobushige is sending his cavalry over to the woods just vacated by Kuro's cavalry. He does have 2 units of Great Guard and the units of Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry. And Kuro just pulling back into another box. Obviously content to defend at this point.
Yeah, I mean, his army, he's definitely got the upper hand in the skirmish, so, yeah, there's no real point in rushing forward.
Nobushige sending forward his Naginata Warrior Monk Cavalry to check out these trees, see that nothing's in there. And actually there might be something in there, because we are spectating from Nobushige's point of view, so who knows what he'll find. But I can't imagine there's much in there, though. It looks like all the cost has gone into this army that's standing out the front in plain view. So once again...
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you know, he's got about the same amount of numbers that he's been running with. So he's got 17. So I don't really think there's anything hidden there.
Okay, Kuro is moving forward his bow warrior monks now. Quite a long range on the bow warrior monks, of course. Might be able to start shooting if he moves them forward a bit further. Nobushige doesn't want any of it. He's just sort of slewing his army over to the right a little bit. Going for another encirclement, perhaps.
Yeah, well, he's definitely going to go for the Katana Cav. That should be over rather quick.
Yep, Katana Cav versus Yari Cav. Plus a volley from the Matchlock Ashigaru there, but they didn't hit very much at all, it seemed. And the Katana Cavalry are now on red morale.
Oh.
And here goes Nobushige running forward his bow warrior monks. For some reason, not stopping and shooting. Another volley from the Matchlocks. Does a lot of damage to those Yari cavalry. They're now down to 18 from 60. And he did charge cavalry. He's charged cavalry in over on Nobushige's left side. Just sitting there. Now moving again.
It looked like Nobu tried to actually, he killed quite a few of the matchlocks, so with the remainder of his Yari Cav, but he's definitely getting slaughtered in the archery duel right now.
Yep, 3 units of bow warrior monks against 2. Those 2 units actually ran under their fire for a little bit before actually stopping and shooting back. Nobushige's Great Guards running around the back of Kuro's forces now, probably about to actually get caught, one of them, by another unit of Great Guard. They nearly got fended off by Yari Ashigaru. He is trying to pull them back now. Or one unit of them anyway. The second unit trying to get into the matchlocks. Oh, the Nagano Warrior Monk Cavalry actually just caught the matchlocks. The second one charging after these Lone Sword Ashigaru and probably going to get caught by Kuro's Great Guard anyway. The matchlocks now getting a lot of damage done to them by that unit of Nagano Warrior Monk Cavalry. Kuro's Bow Warrior Monks have to move out of the road lest they get caught as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was definitely a nice move on Nobu's side, but I think he had an opportunity to get the archers, and he didn't capitalize on it. He got tangled up with the lone swords there with his monk cavalry.
So Nobushige sending the rest of his forces forward. He's got them split roughly into 2 groups, with matchlocks, Yari Ashigaru and Lone Swords on the right, and then a pretty similar force in the middle with his general. And of course, there's still 2 units of cavalry over on the 1 unit of cavalry and 1 unit of spearmen over on his left flank. Kuro again is all bunched up into this little box in the middle of the field. But he does have a unit of Lone Sword Ashigaru over in the trees, apparently completely forgotten about. Nobushige pushed forward a unit of Matchlock Ashigaru, takes a pretty big volley at this unit of Yari Ashigaru, 103 men now from 150. And Nobushige closing in ever so slowly, but surely.
Yeah, those 3 monks that are, they still have potential to cause a lot of havoc for Nobu. And now it actually looks like Kuro actually has more cavalry.
And Kuro just has to keep... It looks like he's just kiting. He's just kiting Nobushige's army because he has the huge advantage in ranged units now. And Nobushige is trying to send his Great Guard in to try catch them, but there's still a whole lot of units there for Kuro that could break up this attack pretty quickly. And here they go now. Great Guard and Yari pouring in. Kuro's Great Guard, katanas, matchlocks, going to cut them down pretty quick.
Our men are running from the battlefield.
Nobushige's army wheeling around to his right, trying once again to get that encirclement, bullying Kuro's army all over the battlefield.
Looks like Kuro tried to knock out the matchlocks, but doesn't look like it's going to work. He sent both of his cav at him.
Now, did one unit... There were two units at Great Guard, and did one of them just rout almost instantly, the second one about to follow suit?
Yeah, you know, it took a day to volley as it was going in.
Yeah. And they were already pretty under strength. So now Kuro's forces are just running away now. Nobushige's infantry trying to chase him up. This is very strange. You don't see this very often at all, do you?
You know, I think right now he's just trying to, because obviously he's got better range units. He's just trying to get them in a position where they're effective. You know, if he would have engaged into melee, Nobu would have probably rolled him. But now he's got his army situated. He's got his archers behind his battle line. He's probably going to drop, stand, and fight, and it's probably not going to look good for Nobu.
Yep, so this is going to be Kuro's last stand, and you predict it's going to go pretty well for Kuro. He's in the right position, he's in the trees, he's got the best ranged units.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, but looking at it.
Right, so the melee is beginning. Nobu's throwing in his lone swords against Kuro's lone swords. This will decide the game. Nobushige's general's an awful way back, but I guess he's worried about taking volleys from them. Oh no, he is taking huge volleys from the warrior monks. Now down to 21 men from 30, and continuing 16. Dying like flies. Now drop, stand, and fight. 12 men from 30. Continuing to take massive volleys. Wavering now. 5 men from 30. That was not a good decision for Nobushige. His general is going to die in a hail of arrows, near Leonidas style, and he's gone. His general is dead. Just like that.
Our entire unit has perished, my lord.
Well, it's definitely well played on both players' parts. I mean,
you mean?
And there goes the rest of Nobu's army. Yeah, definitely when he lost his general, it was just a matter of time. I mean, stand and fight. That ability's hard to overcome.
But it can only protect your general for so long. I mean, even with stand and fight, there's only so much damage you can take from 3 relatively high-strength bow warrior monk units, surely.
Yeah, he probably would have been better off if he would have put him in the trees, and, he probably would have survived, but...
Yep, so Kuro beats Nobushige 2-1, which means that the Horo-shu team takes a set. They're up 1-0 over their opponents, the Takeda clan. Thanks very much for joining me, Kinjo. It's good to have you, and I really hope you can join me again next time.
Alright, have a good one. Nice played, guys.